Hey Aries, this is your January Capricorn season reading, which gives us a little bit of a look into what is coming into this year. While the North Node is transiting your sign and eclipses, and now we're entering a cardinal season, and it could feel like pressure to do or to go, to move, and maybe you just want to and stretch yourself. Before we get into it, all information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version to these readings, which is in the first link below, which we get even deeper into it, into the reading, into the details of it all. If you need a look at that, I put out some from December. You can take a look at those. Very helpful way to knowing how I've been doing things, and sometimes it changes, but this is where we're at. Change. You may want to rush into change, or change is rushing into you, or you're being brought into change. Regardless, change is happening. It may make you want to make maybe rash decisions or have some impulses. And what's really important right now is that you remain in a way that is secure for you. Whatever has happened may have brought up some old way of going about things, the way that you used to do things. And now, even though this tower moment has happened or is happening, the way you react from this tower moment says a lot about how that will affect the days to come, the year to come. The change isn't easy. It may feel very uncomfortable even, but it's the way in which you're directing your energy that is the common and most important thread here. And what do I mean by that? Well, this Knight of Swords way of going about things or the way that you may be struggling to deal with or needing to deal with this part of you that wants to make impulse, maybe wants to right a wrong or blame someone or take this out on, and ultimately it's yourself. So it could be whomever, whatever, but ultimately you're taking out on yourself. But for a lot of you, it's that last straw to yourself and realizing like, this doesn't deserve my energy in this way. This isn't worth my energy in this way. And you realize what is worth your energy. You may need to respond to yourself and your own reactions in a way in which that you may have wished it could happen or have happened, or someone could have shown you before, but they haven't, and you have to learn, and you're reprocessing, and that's okay. This is also going to show you a lot about how you channel that into what it looks like to securely and safely go about the next step, the next risk. It's also this moment where you can show yourself, yes, a different outlook, a different perception, a different way of going about things in a way that can utilize all this raw and realized power to create, to take what you're feeling and find a way to alchemize it and put it into what's coming next. These two knights going almost, in the opposite direction of the reading, in the backwards flow, but then having this King of Pentacles and this Temperance is basically just repeating themselves, saying, okay, every time you want, or someone, either you want to go and do something brash, rash, impulsive, or be aggressive, for some reason, there's this other side of you, or someone that shows up, or something that shows up that reminds you that that is not the way to utilize your energy right now. Why? We're thinking about the long game. We're always thinking about the long game, but we're especially thinking about the long game. You, or maybe you ought to think about the long game. The strategy, how your emotions drive and correlate with progress, lack of progress, success, whatever that means to you. If you want those things to align, then this part of you that is also amazing and magical and knows something and instinctual, intuitive, you're coming back to a place where you have maybe realized that your instincts are not serving you in the best way, or haven't been, or they were for that time. And now the time is changing. And what it's asking you is to recognize that with this depth of understanding, there is a beauty of taking a risk. It's something that, of course, Capricorn knows as well. It's just that in order to, this is revealing a lot. This is basically saying, it's just getting a deeper sense of what has already been said. And I think that's the best. I think what's funny is that, just a little tidbit here, is that, yes, you are leaders. But one thing about fire signs that I've noticed is there's a lot of repetition or repeating of words that they've overheard. And what's important for you are repeating themselves, right? The need to repeat yourself and what you want, or what you're imposing upon yourself. Now there's an imposition from the external world that is coming into your life, whether in a physical form or ethereal form, or just like, even if it's through someone, all of a sudden they're just saying something that really connects and relates to the whatever emotional and mental issue, or not even issue, but response that you're having to the change that is happening in your life, whether it's in your life or whether it's directly in your life or within you, like externally, internally, they're both the same, or going to show a similarity, right? It's all connected. What you're making space for, it looks like, is the Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, is to make room for this change, this abundance, this huge idea. What you're not giving enough credit to is the insight that you get when you don't act impulsively. There's a beautiful thing for your instincts in that physical way. However, Capricorn's also a very mental sign. They're not just physical. There's an infusion there. But they're not the thinkers, the intellectual of the cardinal, right? That's Libra, your axis, your opposite. So you are fully physical no matter what. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. So again, no knows better than the other if you're getting competitive here. If someone's trying to sell you something this month, also don't buy it. Wait it out. You'll see why. That's just a little something. But including yourself. So you're making space for this, right? And it may not be moving at your pace. Life, perhaps, may not be moving at your pace right now. But again, we're thinking the long game. This is actually a lot of movement. A lot of change happening. Bottom of the deck. You're preparing your energy to have to go into this internal battle. When things move slow, you're being asked to look internally. We'll check these out more in the extended as well. To go internally, to confidently move in your life in a way that you can see the insights coming your way. They're not moving slow, they're meeting you when you're ready. You know, things click, and you can have heard something a million times. Maybe you didn't need it at the time, maybe it just didn't click at the time, but in the right time, with the right person, in the right way, whatever needs to be said will be said. Because a part of that process is realizing that confronting the issue doesn't always mean literally confronting the issue. It's taking a look at what's your reaction and maybe confronting that issue, or your response. Your response to this change is bringing you closer to the instincts that you'll need now, that you'll need going into the next phase of your life, into this abundant and big idea. Because no matter what, you're also being observed, or you're going to put yourself out there to be observed in some kind of way, to maybe get a promotion or have some change happen. Because we'll look at the Tower in a sense that usually it doesn't relate to Pluto too much, but Pluto is shifting fully into Aquarius finally, which does change everything for everyone in a different way. Again, no charging towards the problem. It's about looking at the problem, or looking at what is the change in the best way you can from a slight distance, from an observer's mentality. And then getting close to it in your mind, thinking about it, taking a look, examining, and also not judging it. And when you do that, again, you're providing space for this change to happen. What comes from this too is this understanding that maybe you haven't been given yourself and your mind, maybe your emotions enough of a break, or enough space to process all of what is going on and what has gone on. You know, even if something makes you so mad, learning how to control or restrain yourself to provide yourself with a sense of security and safety, but also this choice to utilize that energy in a different way, where you can be open to giving that time and energy to the very need, the very thing that you need, which could be just time, attention, acknowledgement. Instead of maybe beating people, or even that realization to the punch, right? It's this understanding, this freedom from those responses. It's not so much, we think it's control, right? But it's more of a freedom to respond in a way that makes sense for you now. And that gives you a sense or an illusion of control, but it also gives you that honesty that with yourself, that understanding that strength, even if it feels like a big risk to take internally. The way that you are is when you decide you're willing to defend your cause at any cost. It's both a superpower, a strength, and, like we always say, it's also could be your biggest weakness. To not take this time seriously enough. To find maybe some neutrality and then put that energetic maybe nervous or excitement, frustration, all of those very energetic emotions feel more like dispersed and chaotic and static. They feel like static, right? Because without giving these thoughts or realizations enough time to sink in, then you'll be missing the point of what's happening, right? At least that's what I'm seeing here. And it's that freedom from whatever's not allowing you to grow. And again, this is something you're going to be working with. This is not just an overnight 1 month change. This is like what you'll be working with, but it'll show up differently every season. It'll show up differently every month because it's your identity is shifting. You're shifting. It's a bigger feeling, opportunity. It's big. It's spatial. Temperance, and then the space of the wands. And there's responsibility, discipline. You're just deepening your relationship with all of these things in Capricorn season. In Capricorn season. All right, Aries, we're going to get right into the next part because I'm curious myself now. How insightful. See you next month.